If you were watching this on release, today marks the beginning of the 2024 Chinese Lunar New Year, and quite fittingly, it is the return of the Year of the Dragon. Undeniably the most significant of the 12 Chinese zodiac animals to the Angry Birds community. So what better time to look back upon the fan-favorite season's level pack? Well, there was quite literally no better time, because we wanted this opportunity until 2036. So let's gonna move on, or move back as the case may be, all the way to the waning days of 2011. Where Rovio first alluded to this Dragon update. Angry Birds Seasons, all new update coming in January. Brought to you by a tenebrous slithering sky serpent. If it wasn't clear what this update was all about, then Rovio's marketing campaign surely delivered the message. Not only would we get the obligatory teaser trailer, not only would we get a fully fledged 14-part comic, not only would we get a not so ambiguous riddle to solve, but we'd also receive this illustrious animation setting up the events of the in-game levels. I know that was a lot to launch at you at once, so let's break it all down. Okay, so in the lead up to the update, Rovio created these pages on their website that could be accessed completely free of charge, mind you. You had dragoncomics.angrybirds.com, where you could access this 14-part comic introducing fans to the mighty dragon, a symbol of good fortune and power in our world, but a destructive yet mythical being on Piggy Island. This comic provides context for the Year of the Dragon animated short, where the pigs gather around an outdoor puppet theater as they watch a dragon pig attempt to steal the eggs. Fun bit of trivia regarding the pig, his name is actually Fu Ham as stated in the book interpretation. The pig's efforts, however, are thwarted by a pot of dragon stickers, much to King Pig's dismay. With the assistance of Helmet Pig, King Pig manages to rewrite the show as the blue scoff from the distant bushes. They employ the help of their newfound friend, the mighty dragon, rewarding him with a golden koi fish in exchange for demolishing the pig's New Year celebration. The other webpage's domain was dubbed lantern.angrybirds.com, which displayed an oriental scroll with 3 question marks as well as 3 sets of seemingly unrelated numbers. This riddle could not be cracked until the season's update itself dropped on January 19th, 2012. Like Seasons episodes we've looked at in the past, the Year of the Dragon level pack contains several new features that differentiate it from the rest, all contained within a compact 15 levels. The Lunar New Year celebration is historically ushered in via displays of fireworks, family get-togethers, temple visits, and street festivals, most of which were faithfully represented in Seasons. Many of the oriental elements scattered throughout the episode were simply carryovers from 2011's Chinese-themed update, Moon Festival. But that isn't to say Year of the Dragon brought nothing new to the table. Right from the get-go, you'll notice the new red wood and gold blocks holding properties similar to that of conventional wood and stone respectively. New lanterns are also hung throughout the levels, generously awarding 3,000 points when smashed, which we've come to expect from Seasons episodes at this point, right? Although not as frequent, this applied to the golden koi fish as well, which we'll touch back upon in a minute. For those seeking 3 stars, you'd often have to make use of the precarious fireworks stowed in the nooks of the levels, which would activate upon collision and explode to the player's advantage. Complete destruction, however, could only be achieved through the use of this episode's most iconic feature, the mighty dragon, who replaces the mighty eagle only in this episode. He works nearly identically to the eagle, as he will pursue a koi fish fired by the slingshot while leveling nearby structures. While brief, Year of the Dragon packs quite the punch, with many memorable, fun levels that took full advantage of the new mechanics. And you'd even find some Facebook greeting cards on the episode select screen to really drive home that New Year's spirit. Now, as for that riddle, I said that it required the levels to solve, so how exactly did that work? Those numbers to the left each represented one of the pieces of media Rovio created for the update. It wanted you to locate the golden koi fish in the levels, animation, and comic at those specific points. Level 1-5 from the game itself, timestamp 201 in the animation posted to YouTube, and strip 11 of the comic from the Dragon Comics webpage. Enter those specific clues and you'd be sent to an unlisted animation further celebrating the occasion. And so that's where our story would come to an end. But you know I didn't just make this video as a means to celebrate my favorite Angry Birds season. No. There's more to this story than I've let on. Because as always, the fourth component to any good Angry Birds era is the merchandise. And boy did Year of the Dragon not have any. Okay, that's a lie. There was a small handful of dragon-themed products like this puzzle, these trading cards, some stickers, this finished greeting card. Okay, clearly Rovio didn't see any commercial potential for their new dragon character, but somebody across the Atlantic did. Now, who am I referring to here? More importantly, what am I referring to here? It's Commonwealth, man. It's a Commonwealth. Who the hell else would I be talking about? You've seen my channel. August 2011 saw the introduction of the Mighty Eagle plush, when ToyWiz.com began shipping initial pre-orders. It became the first and only plush ever offered exclusively in 16-inch, or 18-inch. Oh sorry, 28-inch. Okay, nobody actually knows what size he's supposed to be, including Commonwealth themselves apparently. Anyways, all you need to take away from this is that they did a Mighty Eagle. He's enormous, super duper fluffy, and is incredibly faithful to the game. So what was stopping Commonwealth from making a Mighty Dragon? Nothing, apparently. It was the most beautiful creature I had set my eyes on since I raised Construction Epic to the heavens nearly 6 years ago. I was stunned, perplexed, confused, joyous that somebody took the time to pattern this behemoth, and grateful I had the opportunity to release the beast from confinement and reveal it to you today. Hell, where do I start? Let's first identify their inspiration. Dedicated Angry Birds enthusiasts will instantly recognize the dragon's pose. It's quite literally this vector but in real life, curled up below with his head poking out the top. It's not exactly ideal for display though. His body doesn't have enough rigidity to support his massive head, so he tends to sag towards his left. When posed as intended, he's roughly 22 inches tall, but I'm not accounting for his antlers, which actually have bendable wires in them. But since this is a one-of-a-kind sample, I'm not gonna find out what happens when I actually try and pose them. The face, what more could you ask for? Bushy embroidered eyebrows, whimsical stare, exposed pointed teeth, and cavernous nostrils, just like the game. I would be remiss to not point out that the second tooth from the front is actually a three-dimensional piece of felt, so it could point downwards over his beard. Moving down the neck, we find his red Balboa mane, cut almost sawtooth style for authenticity. 3 large yellow felt spikes protrude down his spine, each of equal size. On the inside, you'll find the start of his yellow scales that travel all the way down to his tail, each one getting successfully smaller, split up by thin orange embroidered stripes. Along the way, you'll find 4 smaller yellow spikes as well as his Commonwealth sample tags, which we will discuss in a minute. And at the end, you have his feathered yellow tail. For a prototype they seemingly attempted only once, could they have not made it any better? If you were Simon Piero, the Angry Birds magician, and you decide you wanted to yank the dragon off the screen into reality, is this not what would manifest? But if I were an Angry Bird magician, let's try it. Only this time, I want this render of the dragon. Oh, so now there's 2 dragons. Well, now you're gonna tell me there's a third. So now there's 3 dragons? There can't possibly be a 4th, right? I mean, this has to be it. I think we're in the clear. Now this dragon, while it shares many design cues with the Jumbo Dragon, has been completely reshaped to match his in-flight render. The head is almost the exact same design in fact, the only difference I can see are his antlers, which were simplified using 2 thin layers of Balboa, as opposed to the stuffed ones on the Jumbo. There are only 5 spikes on this one, which is sometimes accurate. Only other difference I can see is his tail, which is shaped a bit differently to show he's traveling swiftly through the air. This particular one was referred to by Commonwealth as the 12-inch dragon, but they also downscaled this one to make an 8-inch variation. Now, if we're being real nitpicky here, technically the 12-inch is just a tad longer at 36 inches, while the 8-inch is a meager 24 inches long. The people at Commonwealth were particularly adept at measurements, I know. These two look fantastic as well, though personally if I had to have one, the Jumbo is the only answer. Pairs brilliantly with the Mighty Eagle. I mean, just look at my shelves. This is peak. Now, I said we'd come back to the tags, so let's address those, starting with the Jumbo. The hang tag is your conventional Commonwealth sample tag with all the basic information pertaining to the plush written on the backside. You've got your style number and a sample date for this one, February 23rd, 2012, which means that Commonwealth had this guy ready just about a month after the update dropped. The others were sampled about 2 weeks later on March 7th, 2012. The reason why this is impressive to me is because from what I've been told, there was no directive from Rovio telling Commonwealth to make this guy. It appears that they just saw the character and thought it might make for a decent toy and had intentions on pitching it to Rovio, but they just never ended up following through, likely having second thoughts once they made it. Supposedly, they never even showed Rovio these samples, meaning their existence was only knowledge to a handful of people within Commonwealth until I smuggled them out. And now you've seen them, in all their glory. Do let me know in the comment section below which Mighty Dragon design is your favorite, I'm actually quite curious. Oh, and one last thing. The Sonin label is a generic Commonwealth one with a 2007 copyright for some reason. Just thought I'd mention it in case you were curious. And so, there you have it. I bet you never expected this one, a comprehensive overview of the Angry Birds Season's Mighty Dragon plush. Obviously a shame it never went to production, as it's arguably the most niche and obscure character Commonwealth ever made. You can debate a few others, but the execution here is what sets this guy apart. Add in the fact he's synonymous with one of the most highly regarded episodes in the history of Angry Birds, and you got yourself, in my opinion, the best Commonwealth sample ever. If you have any comments, questions, or complaints, you can let me know in the comment section below. With that I say, peace out.